What's up, VC? It's it's Eric Weinbender, obviously, but I feel like maybe there's grounds for reintroduction. I've been away more or less for several months. For those who might not know the story, started a new job, very preoccupied, terrible car wreck, trauma center to physical therapy rehabilitation center to now home, more or less doing outpatient therapy. So the more or less being, I live in my mom's dining room with a hospital bed in it. So hopefully in the sooner than later future, I will be back home, which I look forward to. This is a solemn, sad time for me, but nonetheless, I'm staying positive and grateful for life, and reclaiming life and getting back on my feet, both figuratively and literally. So, that being said, why am I here all of a sudden? So, I had no intention on making a video tonight. I just settling in for the national championship. Um, and then I get a phone call, which is, commonplace nowadays between rescheduling physical therapy and doctor's appointments and a court date, and yada, 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 all on account of this accident. I get more phone calls than ever, especially in the variety of unlisted numbers. So now I think about it, I don't even know how this individual got my number, and I'm really not too worried about it. But I get a phone call just before the national championship game. I was like, and I pick it up, and all I hear on the other line is just like a like a lip flutter, just like a snot bubble popping, and I just hear like a whimper, and I'm just like, hey, friend, you got the right number here? And he said, well, don't hang up. Is this Eric? And I'm like, yeah. And I was like, who's this? He's like, Richie. And I'm just like, whoa, Rich, what's going on, babe? And he's like, to be honest with you, ever since you've more or less not been in the vinyl community, I've been lost without you. And I was like, well, that's heavy, man. It's like, life treating you okay? He's like, life's okay. He's like, but just like VC wise, you are my shining beacon, my light in the vinyl community. Without you, I feel like I'm I'm crashing Earth without a rudder. And you're just like, oh man, that's heavy, man. I don't know what I could do to help. He's like, all I need you to do is just make one vinyl community video for me. And I'm just like, well, Richie, I got you, and I've had opportunities. I've been home, not only staying here for a while, but I've actually got to step foot in my house, 2 or 3 times since being home for the past month or so. And I feel bad. I've grabbed records and organized them for videos I never made. I just didn't have the energy or enthusiasm, and I feel bad about that because I like to support members of the vinyl community. But I'm here now for Richie, and I feel real bad. Richie was just like, without you as my guiding light, I had to seek out Mazzy for direction on what I was gonna do vinyl tag, and I was like, I get that, Richie, because it's a confusing time nowadays with 37 vinyl tags. And let me go on a side note here. Let me just because I didn't plan on making a video here now. Let me just go on. I'm not contrived or planned, so hopefully I choose my words well, because this is meant to be a inspire unity. I don't know if I'm an inspiring type, but hopes of one day reclaiming a situation where we all gather, share together. So, like a lot of people, my introduction to the vinyl community, both viewing videos for the first time and then participating with Vinyl Tag. And so I think it's pretty cool that there's a situation that gathers people. They share their own individual tastes, but a broader appeal, right? So you can show cassettes and CDs, and I don't get hung up on stuff like that. And to a certain extent, people are going to have their own nuances of the genres of music that they like, and they can express it. And some people are going to get a little left out, where if they don't collect jazz, or there's a question about a blues album or a soul album, doo-wop album, they're going to get left out. My opinion is kind of to omit that. I said, but now you see things like a spate in a rising in a multitude of vinyl tags. All right, part of that is because everyone's friend Andrew Tales in the Crate. I don't know if he's the originator, the creator of vinyl tag, or just was a longtime proprietor and caretaker presenter of vinyl tag and originator of New Questions. But I don't know if he's so much burnt out on vinyl record collecting or even VC because there's other avenues as far as Facebook and other forms of social media I don't really participate in. But I think he's more or less burnt out on YouTube, and I get that he's a father and he's got his own bag to carry, and so carry on, my friend. Um, but there's the film of the void is one thing, because Rob Walker, we started at the same time. He's a buddy of mine. He was like, I am not waiting until January 2nd for Vinyl Tag. This is absurd. I am taking the reins. And within the same day, another friend of mine, Christian Stunty, Stunt Rock Confusion, he was like, I want to make sure we can get slightly esoteric on some of these questions. I, too, am throwing my hat in the ring. And that's kind of whatever. And then you get the hybrid tags where people kind of pick and choose from both and do their own thing. And I get that, all right? But then there's kind of the isolationalists. And, as humans, we're tribalistic. We kind of find like-minded pockets of people. But you can still do that while supporting the greater good. Now, Rock Scout, good dude, support his channel, subscribe to his channel. Like the guy, watch his videos. He's got a metal tag going on right now. And I support that, but I kind of don't support the timing of it. And I support the people that choose to do that tag and find like-minded people. But there used to be a thing like post vinyl tag season. I know that's a weird way to label it, almost like we're deer hunting. But we know every year what time of the year it is for vinyl tag, and there's a now bygone member of vinyl community that did the soundtrack tag, and there's the soul tag that was done by Lavelle Andrew. Unfortunately, I missed that. I think it timed out for a long time. Me starting my new job and the car accident and everything. There's jazz tag and things like that. And I think that's pretty cool. All right, but to kind of like segregate yourself from the majority of people, not by genre of music. You can show whatever you want, and if you choose to skip a question, then you skip a question. But to outright kind of like isolate yourself from the greater community, I find a little peculiar. Not negative, not toxic, but just not ideal. So I don't know what the situation is, and I don't really have a plan on where I was taking this conversation because it's just off the top of the head. Because I see two outcomes. More and more people participating in blues tags, or I saw a freaking final tag that was by me observing it. I view it as being designed for 4 members of the vinyl community exclusively. So how much of a minutia do you reach? When you're catering to 4 individuals in a group of thousands. So I don't know the way to go about it, and I'm not saying I should be the person to do it, because whoever does it's going to have to bear a certain load to carry and putting it together. But the redundancy of show me a box set or show me your best find from this year. I get it; it's hard to put together 20 original questions, but I almost feel like the vinyl community vinyl tag should be a community endeavor, and so I don't know if you reach that through doing a Q&A video or posting a series of polls where people could submit questions. But I think that's a healthy way to go about it, because in the end of it all, you'd have 20 questions that you can credit to individuals in the vinyl community, or multi-credit. If 3 people came up with the same quality question, you can all shout them out real quickly. And instead of this potential pursuit in the future of people trying to be the first person to create a vinyl tag so they can catch fire and get some more eyes on their channel for some kind of internet clout, which I don't begrudge outright, but also acknowledge it exists, the potential for that. I think it'd be more beneficial for the vinyl community to have a community effort vinyl tag. So I guess here's to Vinyl Tag 2023 in that regards. And if anyone thinks that's absolutely asinine, ludicrous, or supported, I'd drop a comment in here. If it's toxic or negative or supporting, I'll field it either way. And I respond to all my comments, which reminds me I'm behind on commenting on my last 2 videos. I need to get back in the fold fully and respectfully respond to those who were nice enough to reach out to me. I appreciate everyone who's ever commented prior to this accident. I always did my due diligence and respectfully commented back to anyone who commented on me. All right, so that's out the way. That's my little thoughts on vinyl tag. Vinyl community. It should be a vinyl community thing for anybody who wants to show whatever they please within that. And then by all means, down the line, if you want to do anything that's within your finite wheelhouse, then create a tag or a thread or whatever, then so be it. But I'd like to see something in the future that's more conducive for people rubbing elbows and getting to know each other and intermingling with all walks of life. I'm a big fan of that. All right, so back to I gotta get to the point here because if I don't hold up a record soon, Vinyl Richie's gonna have a breakdown. So another friend of mine who's kind of lost in the vinyl community, John Bip Bop Boom. He sent me a letter. He said, "Hey man, I understand your situation right now, but he said I want to give you good reason to get back in the fold." So between Richie's nervous breakdown and John Bip Bop Boom reaching out to me, what I'll actually do? I need to leave a link to not only support the Rock Scout who created the metal tag for anyone that wants to partake in that individually. But John Bip Bop Boom did a metal tag, so I need to send a link to that, and maybe that will fold you guys into intermingling with more walks of life for you non-metal bros. Maybe you could support some metal bros by going down that little avenue. But so John, he sent me a piece of mail, and I guess I should be grateful for it. In one aspect I am, but one aspect I'm not, because I was pulled into a four-way anal touch fight, which is not the type of Donnybrook I'm looking for. So I'm in no condition to participate. But this album is freaking rich. Here's two things that come out of it real quick. Prior to owning this record, I had no idea that Heritage was not the name of the band. I assumed that this was some band named Heritage that had a concept album or some kind of kerfuffle in their creative process that said, "Oh, we're going to create a stupid album called Four-Way Anal Touch Fight, and we'll have a big hearty har laugh about it." No, this piece of dribble, this pure doo-doo turd of an album, is by an actual band named Four-Way Anal Touch Fight. And so if you guys might remember, this was like some ongoing joke in the vinyl community for a while. I guess just simply because it's called Four-Way Anal Touch Fight. I hope it's not some kind of attempt in the past that people are trying to uncover some forgotten gem of an album that's only is only misrepresented or not credited because of the terrible name, like this egregious act of naming their name such a stupid name. This is pure rubbish. I don't know how else to put it. I know it's like labeled as like avant-garde, electric noise, experimental Viking metal, which I think is just an attempt. Like if you throw enough titles at it, that maybe you'll think there's like layered complexity to it, and it's genius. It's not. This is crap. I feel like if I were to go into it at depth in any more capacity, that I'm almost, I'm giving it more justice than it deserves. This album does not deserve that. But if I were to speak on it briefly, the second there's vocals, I could probably get down with the electronic experimental noise stuff, but anytime there's vocals, or anytime people choose to speak the juvenile, terribly presented mouth diarrhea lyrics, it instantly fails me. And I suffered through this album, I guess, to see what the hubbub was about, and the hubbub was much ado about nothing. I promise you this. The album is as bad as Sean Cecilia's Handwriting. So this is adorable. So Sean sent out like 4 records to 4, kind of like the king would send a letter to 4 corners, 4 letters to 4 corners of the kingdom, so that all can know the greatness of the importance of said letter. So he sent this out to a couple different ends. I know Randall Weaver got a copy via California. And I was watching his review, and I don't remember too much of that because I was like, I'm not ever going to listen to this album unless I'm forced to. And I am. Or was, because John sent this to me. All right, this is not the one that came from Randall Weaver. This came directly from Sean Cecilia, then to John, now to me, and apparently 10 people are supposed to suffer through this. And also, on a side note, I know why why this thread died. Because nobody wants to be forced to sit down and listen to this and then review it and present it to the public. It's an awful album. It's rubbish, and I don't think you need to protect it by putting excuse me, by putting white out on it or whatever, or writing all over it, and then protecting it by saying, VC, copy, share, yada yada yada. I think the issue is more not people just letting this fruit die on the vine, so to speak. Excuse me. Ain't nobody got time for this. Long and short. So I could see how this passes off. Now, the funny thing, going back to Randall Weaver, is that this is not the copy that got sent to Randall Weaver. I don't know the lineage of those different records that went out, but I do know that one thing I thought was funny in the Randall Weaver comment section, I saw that John Bip Bop Boom, prior to me getting this, said, I recently got sent a copy of this. I passed it on to the other sucker. So apparently I'm that sucker, and I apologize already to the next person that's going to suffer this, because per the request of John, I'm back in the fold, and to the benefit of Vinyl Richie, and this is going to go on to the next sucker. But don't. Just don't. Hot doo-doo between your toes on a summer day while your flip-flops have been stolen. There's no garden hose. You're walking through hot sand. Someone stole your beer. You lost your car keys. It's a bad day. This is the cool thing, though. John's a pretty rad dude, and he wanted to give me reason to to make a video, so he sent me that, which would not be flattering if that was the means that he wanted me to participate in the vinyl community again. But he sent me a little side gift, which I think is super cool. So this is Shakedown Street, late 70s, boogie blues, disco tinged Grateful Dead. This falls towards the bottom of the ranking of the hierarchy for most Grateful Dead people. Some people turn their nose up to it, and a lot of people, they have their days where they, old hippies might like the Pigpen era and the more psychedelic stuff, the early stuff. And there might be people that got into the psychedelic and hippie renaissance of the 80s, and they gravitated to the Grateful Dead during the Touch of Grey MTV music video days, and this just doesn't fall in their wheelhouse. I personally dig this album. One of the main reasons why is the titular track, Shakedown Street, was my sister's introduction into Grateful Dead, and so a lot of times the song you listen to first is a song that stays with you forever and you love the most. And so that song always makes me think of my sister, Lisa. And then my sister is the one who turned me on to Grateful Dead. So I have a soft spot for this album and never owned it. So it was a beautiful stroke of luck that I ended up with this album, which I enjoy thoroughly. The other album being one of the worst albums I ever heard in my life. But happy to have this in the collection right now. That's super cool. I only have 2 records to speak to that. And so I'm probably going to cut this off and do this in under 20 minutes. And I guess the last thing, because one thing to sneak in, I usually start my videos with this, but I didn't have a train of thought. Nightlight Kolsch by Streetside Brewery out of Cincinnati, Ohio. This is pretty tasty. Another guy who's like desperate for my communication in the vinyl community. Sam, the Vinyl Douche, reaches out to me all the time. He's like, dude, I don't even know a beer to buy without you making a video. And I'm just like, dude, I'm very rarely drinking nowadays, and if I do, it's never more than a single beer, maybe monthly. And he's like, well, can you send me some pointers? Can you send me some tips? And I was like, well, dude, if I do that, you're just going to buy an IPA anyways. What's the point? And he's like, I just need to know that you care. So I just want to let you guys know, Vinyl Richie, John Bip Bop Boom, Sam Cecilia, the Vinyl Douche, I care. VC, I care. I miss you. And I want to make a point to be more active in the vinyl community. And as much as it might appear that I was bashing on Vinyl Tag, do expect 1 or 2 vinyl tags and or metal tags or whatever from me in the near future, because I love you guys, and I love anything that potentially gives people excuse to socialize and get to know each other. Anyways, rock on, take care, peace, and all that jazz.